All right, everybody, welcome. It is Tuesday. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about Arkansas basketball, and we got an NFL Pro Hog update, or potential Pro Hogs update. All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Yo. Hey, hope you guys are doing well. Again, as always, I hope you had a magnificent weekend. Mine was okay. It was all right. 49ers didn't win, so I'm in a good mood from that. I like seeing them lose, especially in the Super Bowl. So I'm sorry if you put money on them. Someone told me they put a little bit of cash on the Niners, and I thought they were going to win too. I really did. I thought that was San Francisco's to lose. I really thought they were the better team. You don't go against Mahomes, Andy Reid. Those guys have been around for a minute. They've been in the playoffs. They've been in the Super Bowl. They know what's up. They're a veteran team in postseason play. It's hard to bet against teams like that. So, what's good, John? Hope you're doing well, man. Appreciate the shares and yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button. If you got any questions or comments, fire away. I know it's basketball, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Apparently, Gus Malzahn was on some podcast and said something about how he's a closeted Arkansas fan. Is that really surprising? I mean, I think we all knew that even when he was at Shiloh or Springdale, when he eventually became the OC here. Even after he left, I always thought, he's still a Hog fan. I know he is deep down. So I don't know what that was all about. Gus Malzahn still wants to be the head coach, or did he ever really want to be the head coach? I don't know. I don't think so. I think he knew what he was doing. He was playing Arkansas for a raise. That's what he was doing. All right. I know it's that time of year. You know, we're transitioning into baseball. Arkansas taking on James Madison on February 16th. We're gonna do a little bit of baseball breakdown probably on Friday. They do play at 3:00, so I anticipate trying to go live a little bit earlier that day. So yeah, see what they can do against James Madison, and maybe we'll do a slight. We'll just discuss a little bit about the what we think Arkansas can do on the year. Maybe do we think they're good enough to go back to Omaha? I mean, I don't know why anybody would think otherwise. This is considered one of the best teams Dave Van Horn's ever put together. But we've heard that before, and them still show up just a little bit late or not make it at all to even their own super regional with some really good teams, or not make it to a super regional, not make it to Omaha, not advance as far as we thought they would in postseason play. That has happened. Yeah. So please make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. On the interstate with OG. What's up, Pigpen? How you doing, man? We talking baseball this whole segment? Did you read the title? The only thing that everyone wants to come, talk about is basketball. Not really. Nobody wants to talk basketball, but I'll do it. We'll talk baseball when we. I'll probably get that. Like I said, on Friday we'll probably get started. Pigpen, try not to wreck while on the road, man. Try not to get too heated. Appreciate, again, the likes and retweets, everybody. All right. Arkansas. Arkansas sending some guys to the NFL Combine. Five total prospects. We know that there's going to be I think it's 320. I think it's 320 players that get sent to the Combine. That'll happen in Indianapolis February 26th through March 4th. And the Razorbacks that are getting sent, it's going to be Cam Little, Dwight McLaughlin, Trajan Jeffcoat, Bo Limmer, and Brady Latham are the 5. That probably doesn't shock anybody. That doesn't shock anybody. How many of these guys actually get drafted? Realistically, I don't think anybody knows. I would venture to say maybe 3. Maybe Jeffcoat because of his size. I don't know. I don't know that he was anything special, in terms of like something you could see on film. Maybe Latham and Limmer, individually, I think they're pretty good offensive linemen. Unfortunately, they played on one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen at Arkansas, which is so crazy to think about out loud, considering we just got out of the Chad Morris years. When I say just, 4 seasons ago. But to think that this offensive line might have been as bad or worse is just so hard to fathom. And yet they could send a couple of guys, because that's how this works, right? Like, yeah, you could have 5 really talented guys, just like basketball, huh? Isn't that crazy, the similarities there? You can have 5 really talented players, but if they're not all on the same page, if they don't have leadership, if there's no chemistry between these guys, and obviously there's other factors, we try not to compare apples and oranges, but still chemistry matters, and it never felt like the offensive line really had any chemistry, whether that was protecting their quarterback, opening up gaps for their running backs, and the running backs have their own blame in that department. When they were asked to block, they were horrible. The quarterbacks, KJ obviously had a horrible year this year. Some of it was his fault. A lot of it was on these 5 offensive linemen. It's still a little crazy to think they're going to send possibly 2 guys off this offensive line. I would guess that neither one of them get drafted, but at the same time, you never know. The combine can help or boost some of these guys a little bit, but it always comes down to film. I should say always. It mostly comes down to film. So, again, those 5 players are Cam Little, Dwight McLaughlin, Trajan Jeffcoat, Bo Limmer, and Brady Latham. Those are the 5 guys getting sent. I remember a time when you had a pretty good idea that next upcoming roster, who was on it, first off. We already knew by now, 7-8 years ago, like what that roster would look like and who the draft prospects were going to be. You just never know anymore. I think it's fair to say like Jackson off the defensive line will likely be a draft prospect, assuming, knock on wood, he has a healthy season. And then outside of him and off the top of my head, I know I'm forgetting. There's probably a couple more guys. I haven't put a lot of thought into next year. Right now, it's like, what are we going to see in spring camp? That's where my mind's at, and what the hell's going on with Arkansas basketball. That's where my mind's been for the better part of, the last couple of months as things just got worse and worse. I mean, it's to the point where it's kind of suicide to put basketball on your thumbnail. I mean, it really is. If it's Arkansas, it's suicide to put Razorback basketball on your thumbnail and in your title. And I'm going to do it anyways because what the hell? So, yeah. But that's the other bit of news, that and Gus Malzahn saying he's a closeted Razorback fan. I wonder if he's saying that in case Pittman does get canned. I mean, I know whatever, but I wonder if he's saying that to stay in our good graces. Maybe he really does want to come back. I don't know. I'm tired of guessing. You never know. And I don't know that. Would you want Gus here if that was ever an option? I think a lot of you would say no. Some of you would say yes. I know the Springdale folks, most of them, especially the Shiloh people, they would love to have Gus Malzahn back, and I get it. I mean, I think there was a time he was a high-quality coach. I agree with that, especially in high school. And it's not like he's been all horrible throughout his career at Auburn or anywhere else. He's a quality coach. I don't know that I would want him. I don't know that that's a net positive bringing him back if that were ever. And again, I don't think that's even a realistic thing that's going to play out. It's always so interesting, though. Ty, my brother from another mother. What's up, man? How you doing? Bot says he likes Gus. Hey, do me a favor for everyone that's just hopping in. Make sure you like and share. I'm talking about the most, the thing that you shouldn't be talking about on YouTube, which is Arkansas basketball. Again, the YouTube analytics are like, why are you doing that? We're not going to push you. Don't do that. We're not going to push you. We'll send out notifications to your subscribers, but we're not going to push this. So here we are. So please have your boys back and like and share. Arkansas and Tennessee. Can Arkansas avoid another bloodbath? Can the Razorbacks avoid yet another bloodbath? And remember, Auburn walked in here and made it look really easy. Now, I don't know if can that Arkansas team that night rear its ugly face back in, against Tennessee tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. tip-off against the Vols? Absolutely. But can the same team that beat Duke? I don't know, maybe. I don't know about the one that beat Purdue, but the one that beat Duke? Maybe. Where's Brazil? What's the update on Brazil? It is what it is at this point. We all know how bad Arkansas basketball is. Again, this is not a subject anyone really wants to talk about. This will be a horribly viewed video. I know that. But I still feel like it's worth mentioning and talking about a little bit. That and there's just jack shit else to talk about. So, Arkansas in their first 3 SEC games are outscored by a total of 64 points. Talk about breaking records. Their first 3 conference games of 2024, they were outscored 64 points. Tennessee has been kind of a bizarre. It's still, they're still good. They're a quality team. I mean, but here they are coming off a loss against Texas A&M on the road, and it wasn't just a loss. Tennessee got absolutely smoked. I mean, smoked versus the Texas A&M Aggies. 85-69. And it's like, okay, so what the hell happened there? Did Connect not have a very good game? No. Connect went off for 22 points, 7 boards, and 2 blocks. Connect is incredible for Tennessee. They had their typical 8-man rotation. Not a lot of help scoring-wise off their bench. Just nine boards, 17 points off their bench. Not horrible, but not great. Again, they're about an 8-man rotation. That's where they're at right now. A&M was 11 for 28 outside shooting. They were 47%. Tennessee shot 37%. And they were 60% at the free throw line. But again, I mean, how bad this game was. I mean, at one point, A&M led this game by as much as 20 points. I think on 2 separate occasions, they actually were up by at least 20 points. Ziegler had his six assists, 15 points. Vescovi was probably the most of the group, probably the least effective with just 3 boards, 2 assists, and 5 points. A&M just shot better, and they were at home, and I guess their crowd kind of got into the game a little bit more. This is one of those games you'd feel a hell of a lot better about if this were Saturday night inside Bud Walton. But Tennessee has not been perfect on the road either. Yeah, they won at Rupp. They beat Kentucky at Rupp. Okay, so what? Kentucky's lost like 3 straight games at Rupp Arena. That's not quite the feather in your cap it once was. Not this year. They went on the road and they struggled against Vanderbilt, but they did end up winning 75-62. They struggled a little bit. They went on the road. They lost to Mississippi State 77-72. They didn't get blown out, but they did lose on the road there. And they have lost as many as 3 straight games this year, But those were to number 2 Purdue, number 1 Kansas, and at the time number 17 North Carolina. Those were their 3 straight losses. They gave Kansas a pretty good ball game, and they lost to Purdue 71-67. North Carolina beat them by 8, 100-92. They do have some impressive wins, right? I mean, they beat Georgia at Georgia 85-79, which was a close game. In fact, I seem to remember Georgia leading for a little bit there in the second half. That was a really good ball game, but they found a way to win at Athens. Again, 85-79. They beat Ole Miss. They beat the crap out of Ole Miss at home, 90-64. They are the 61st overall scoring team in the country, according to ESPN, at 79.5 points per game. They're giving up just 68 points. They're averaging about 39 rebounds. They're really good. I mean, they move the ball well. They're top. What did ESPN say they were? Top 30, I think. Yeah, they're 30th in assists, averaging about 17 assists per game. That's kind of wild. It's wild that 17 assists is only good for 30th in the country. You celebrate if Arkansas has 14 assists in a single game. Right now, according to the matchup predictor, Tennessee is favored at almost 87% or 86.5%. Arkansas at 13.5%. Again, tip off at 8 p.m. So I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think? What are the odds here? Can Arkansas Here we go. Here you go. Can Arkansas, so there's your poll. Can Arkansas avoid a bloodbath versus Tennessee? Yes, no, or Hogs win? You tell me. Sup, Ty. Late is my middle name. What's up, Philip? How you doing, man? At this point, I don't know who and what would bring us back to football glory. No, I just click when I see you. You got to read the title, Lone Sportsman. Got to read the title. But sometimes I wait to get into the title too, though. So that is fair. Unbiased Brim says, I don't think we get blown out for the remainder of the season. Well, see, now I want to do a call-in and get your take on that. Well, I mean, really? You don't think they don't? I mean, I don't know, man. A&M makes me a little bit nervous. You still got to go to Rupp. Again, that doesn't mean shit anymore. Kentucky's flaming garbage. Well, I should say flaming garbage. They've not played very well lately, I should say. LSU at home, then you're at Alabama. I don't know, man. I could see at least a couple more blowouts. I really could. I could see a couple more games where they just get absolutely bodied. Death, taxes, regular season Rick. There it is. I mean, yeah, regular season Rick. That's his name. Don't wear it out. The must bus has become the struggle bus. Well, it's saying something when you put Arkansas Razorback basketball in the title and you know that's going to be a horrible video. You know the live is going to be low. You know, like you just know it's going to happen. And that's fine. I push content out no matter what. Good news is it's all about the speed up. Baseball, I do think there's going to be a little bit of I think there's going to be some folks that are itching to talk about some winning product on a field, right? And, of course, spring football is always exciting. I'm excited for spring football. I know some of you may not be. You're not as pumped. I am, because I'm very fascinated with Petrino coming back and this quarterback, Taylon Green, and I'm kind of curious about the Utah running back transfer as well. Really interesting to see how the running back room, I said that's the magic word. Oh, we got to freak out like it's Pee Wee Herman. He said the magic word. That running back room, kind of curious to see what it looks like, who gets the majority of the attention, who runs with the ones, what's it look like, and then, of course, we have the spring red-white game. So I'm very, very excited for spring camp. But anyways, Ty, do you think Muss would accept an NIT invite? That's a really good question. We are probably not mathematically out of it, but it is getting really close. Might as well be talking spring football, which is, I'm not going to lie to you. It's crazy to think, but I probably am going to start transitioning to spring football way sooner than I thought I would be, and that could be as early as next week for me. Start talking spring football. I'm so like I've already got notes scribbled and stuff typed up. I'm really ready for that. I also put the video I'd been working on last week on hiatus. I shelved it. The more I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was about Sam Pittman. It was about the pros and cons of keeping Sam for a fifth year and kind of going into that and diving into that. I shelved it for now because I'm just kind of reading the tea leaves, as it were. I'm kind of like I'm thinking about doing some things a little bit different. So I shelved that. I do have it, like it's done. It's recorded. I just don't have it put all the way out yet. So I mean, I could drop it today if I wanted, but I'm not going to. I'm going to shelf it, and I might put it out later. There's some other finishing touches I want to put on it as well. I don't know. Getting back to your question, Jeremy, Muss is a competitive guy, and it's hard for me to see him pass on an opportunity to coach and to take these guys it's tough for me to see Muss pass on the opportunity of coaching more ball. I do think, even though he hides it well, I do think he enjoys doing what he does. There also might be a stipulation in his contract that we don't know about that he has to, right? That he has to go play in the NIT. I don't know, but first off, I don't know that they're going to qualify. I haven't thought of the NIT in years. I don't know no idea. I mean, they're going to have to. Isn't that sad? We're sitting here talking about just to make the NIT, they got to do this, and this. They got to win some more games before we even start talking NITs. I don't see Muss passing on the NITs, but at the same time, to get a head start on recruiting, to get a head start on doing this thing in the portal. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question. I think only Muss knows, and I don't know. He might want to, just to kind of fine tune the guys that might be coming back, because then that's the other side of this equation is like, how many of these guys is he planning on keeping? How many of them want to stay? What's going on with Blocker and Bay Fall and Minifield and these guys? You think as long as Muss is back next year will return. Why not give them more opportunities? That's why, I was talking to good old Arky 56, aka my dad, about going to play in a bowl game. And last year, at one point when we thought Arkansas might have a shot at making a toilet bowl, my dad said, Arky 56 said, why would they even want to do that? Why? Just, it's humiliating. Why would anybody pass up the opportunity to go get better? That's practice. That's the guys that may or may not stick around for another year. You're going to give some guys some more opportunities, right, that wouldn't normally get those opportunities. Why wouldn't you give them those opportunities? Of course you're going to go to the bowl game. I don't know that I can't think off the top of my head any football team that's ever turned down a bowl invite that went 6-6. Hell, you see teams that win 5 games get a bid simply because of the grade situation, because they have so many bowl games. Well, then there's like a couple teams every year that are eligible simply because of their grades, despite not having the 6 wins. Arkansas 5-7, maybe 6-6 bowl game, butts in the seats. Year in helmet rugby. If we lose tomorrow, it's a wrap for basketball talk about the rest of the season. Well, I mean, I will still talk basketball, but it'll come down. It'll come way down. I'll still do post-game shows. We either win by 2 or we lose by 22, says Pigpen, and you're probably on to something. All right. Volunteers currently own a 25-22 all-time record against the Razorbacks, by the way. They're number 6 in the net rankings, number 7 in KenPom. They're number 8 in the BPI. Arkansas obviously outside the 100s on all of those. They're obviously not ranked. Tennessee's top 8, top 10 on both AP top 25 and the coaches poll. Dalton Connect, 6'6", 204 guard. Ziegler, another guard of theirs. They could play with a couple different bigs, but they like Jonas Adu, 6'11", 240 pounds. He could be a space taker. Santiago Vescovi, 6'3", 192-pound guard, and Josiah Jordan James, another guard. They could very well be a four-guard lineup. I mean, this is a fascinating matchup for a number of different reasons, especially with Devo back. And you did hold. By the way, Tennessee takes a lot of threes. I think they're second just behind Alabama. I think they're second just behind the Alabama Crimson Tide. And they take something like 24, 25 threes a game. If you go back to their loss to A&M, again, A&M who blew them out, beat them pretty easily, 85-69. They were 11 of 28. They shot sub 40%. So for them, that's actually not a bad number. If you're making 11 threes in a game and you're still losing that game, well, then there's a whole lot of other issues. It's not like A&M, they did go to the free throw line a little bit. Both teams took 25 shots. Tennessee was 15 of 25. A&M was 18 of 25. That's not what happened here. A&M just simply shot better. I mean, their overall field goal shooting was 47% to Tennessee's 37%. They had 5 shot blocks each. Both teams had 5 shot blocks, but Tennessee just couldn't score at will like I think they thought they would. And A&M led the majority of that game. If I remember, I don't think they led outside the first few minutes, and A&M just took over. And again, at one point, at 2 different times, they had 20-plus point leads. Now, A&M is starting to play the level of basketball I thought they were capable of. Right now, they're riding a 3-game win streak. They beat Florida by a point at home. They won at Mizzou like everybody has, 79-60. And then, of course, they just beat Tennessee. Now, they did lose to Ole Miss at home, but that was a loss of 71-68. So, and yeah, this is the same team. They beat Kentucky. They gave Auburn a decent game on the road, but still ended up losing by 11. But they did win at LSU. So A&M's been a bizarre team this year, as has much of the SEC, really. But I mean, who would have thought South Carolina would be 21-3 with a 9-2 conference record? And it's like, no, they're already in. They're in the tournament. They're in. Where they're at seating-wise, I actually didn't even pull up Lenardi this morning, but I'm sure they're going to end up with a pretty nice spot, and especially if South Carolina can continue playing like this. I'm watching South Carolina. They're actually pretty fun to watch. They're riding a really nice win streak. I think 6-game, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-game win streak. They just beat Vanderbilt, and they've got Auburn tomorrow. That's one of our predictions, isn't it? Didn't I make that one of our predictions? Yeah, I felt like I did. South Carolina is a fascinating team. They're a good team. They're like a really well-coached team. And they're doing it. I mean, it's defense, man. They're only giving up 64 points a game. Watch them play. That is some great chemistry. That is a very well put together basketball team. I don't know if they're built to go far in the tournament or not, but they are killing it in the regular season, so we'll keep an eye on them. But yeah, Tennessee is just kind of another I don't know. Like A&M is finally getting to that level where I thought they were. They're starting to look like the team I thought they were. Meanwhile, Tennessee, again, they've lost at Mississippi State. They lost to South Carolina, which, okay, yeah, they're playing good. But then they go on the road and they get curb stomped by A&M. So do they carry that baggage with them? Do they let that game beat them twice? And here's the craziest thing, and I've said this time and time again, if Arkansas brings their A game, they're capable of beating anybody. If they play well together and play that level of defense they did against their rematch against Georgia. When they won 78-75, you go back and you look, like Georgia's a team that can also score outside a little bit. Arkansas held them to 4 of 18 shooting. If they could carry some of that perimeter defense, we've said this time and time again, they have yet to rack up back-to-back conference wins. They've not done that. Can they? Wouldn't that be like the most Arkansas thing ever? And I did say at the beginning of the year, if they get an upset, despite not at the beginning of the year, I'm sorry, when Arkansas started trailing down, I said they are a team capable of getting some upsets. Maybe this is one of them. I don't think so. I don't know that this is a bloodbath, and we all have a different definition. I can already hear the people typing when this video's done, when I'm done going live. I can already hear someone writing me a DM, maybe even an email. We all have a different opinion on what a blowout actually is. To me, a blowout's anything beyond 20 points. I think if you lose by 20 or more, that's a blowout. We've also seen games like you go back to that Arkansas OU game where Arkansas trails most of it. They trail by 14, 15 points the whole game. It's not quite a bloodbath. It's just ugly basketball. But then you have the Auburn performance to open up conference play for Arkansas. And you get smoked 83-51. Anything can happen, especially this year. It is just crazy. This has been one of the craziest years I've ever seen, and mostly for bad reasons, you know. But again, I don't know who the hell shows up. We'll see if Devo gets a bigger role in this game. I certainly like the intensity that these guys played with. Maybe Georgia was a confidence booster. I don't know. But I do think Tennessee wins this game. I don't think it'll be a bloodbath. I think Arkansas is going to have a little fight in them. I feel like I'm going to be eating my words tomorrow night. I think they're going to show a little bit of fight, and they're going to play hard. They're not going to let what happened before happen again. And maybe Brimley's right. Maybe they don't get blown out again this year. Maybe we don't see any more 20-plus point losses. I hope that's the case. But yeah, Tennessee's really good. I mean, we already know some of these names: Vescovi, Ziegler, Adu. Those guys are all good. But now they've got Dalton Connect, this transfer. I forgot the name of the school. It's a school out of Colorado, I think, a small school. But I've watched him play, and this dude is fun. I mean, he's getting 20 points a game, 29.5 minutes per game, 5 boards, 2 assists. He's only turning the ball over 1 time a game. He's averaging about a block a game, and he's shooting about 48% overall. I mean, Connect is legit. If now you could still contain Tennessee even if this dude goes off, but then you got to keep an eye on. I mean, they've got a couple of guys that could just completely go off on you. Ziegler's the guy that kind of makes all this happen. I mean, even in their losses, this dude's getting about 7 assists a game. He's averaging close to 6 assists per game. It all flows through Ziegler. We know he's 5'9", 170 pounds. That doesn't matter. This dude is a beast. He moves the ball really well. The offense can flow right through him. It's pretty awesome to watch when he's on. Him and Vescovi, when they're on, man. Vescovi, who's a 6'3", 192-pound guard, he's getting about 4 boards, 3 assists, 8 points a game. He's not having quite the kind of year I thought he would have, but he's still, he's still Vescovi. And I think he's someone who you got to keep an eye on. But yeah, they'll go about 8 or 9 deep. I think that's about their average, is about 8 players deep. But they have, remember, we had Blake Lovell on from Southeastern 14, and he and I both agreed Tennessee was the deepest team. Well, they found their rotation, and it's not as long of a rotation. It's primarily 7 to 8 guys getting double-digit minutes. So, but those 5 will likely get. These guys, especially Connect, going to have to find a way to contain that guy. You can do that and let him have a 20-point game. Meanwhile, you've got to continue to play better around the post. You're going to have to crash the boards like we've seen them do before, not consistently. They've been getting out-rebounded quite a bit in SEC play, but there was a time when it looked like maybe they're going to figure that end of the floor out. They're going to get more second-chance points. They're going to get more offensive boards. We don't have to rely on someone, just one guy getting hot. Maybe a couple of guys can get hot. Maybe they can all go through, or it starts with getting rebounds, out-rebounding, boxing out better. They're going to have to do it against these guys. They're going to have to find a way. I think Arkansas, this is probably like the only matchup of the year where I would say raw talent versus raw talent. I'm talking their 8 guys that they'll rotate are as good or far better. I guess it's probably They're far better than Arkansas is. They are a legit top 5, top 10 team coming into the year, and I think they're a legit top 10, top 12 team so far this year. And I'm talking about just the individuals, right? Like not the team effort. We know the teams, Tennessee's way beyond Arkansas. Obviously, they're ranked. They got a high net ranking and all that stuff, but they've been more effective in quad ones. But I'm just talking about like just raw talent, just these guys by themselves. I said it was Tennessee, Arkansas. I think we mentioned Kentucky and Texas A&M. I felt like we're the 4 teams. Obviously, I didn't have Alabama up there because I kind of thought they'd be thinned out a little bit because of the kind of roster turnover they saw. But, the 3-and-D, man, the 3-and-D by Nate Oates is something else. They're just going to 3 you to death. And Tennessee could do that too, by the way. So if you carry – God, help Arkansas. If they could carry that, what they did right against Georgia, what they did for 80% of the game against Missouri, if they could only piece that whole thing together, this team could be really good. They could be really good. I know Mizzou's trash. I get it. And Arkansas did beat A&M, but I think that was before A&M really figured things out. You still got to go to Texas A&M, and that there's another game, I think, if A&M continues to play at the level that they're playing at. Again, we know how this goes, man. You string together some wins, who knows what can happen. I do think, and I've said this for weeks now, Arkansas's out of the tournament. There's no shot there. I'm not even willing to entertain NIT just yet. Like, let's wait. Getting back to that question, though, what would you do if you were Musselman? Would you pass up on the NIT? Or would you see that as an opportunity to maybe make some guys happy who aren't so thrilled about their minutes? And why not? Who cares? It's NITs. Who cares? Let them go play. I think I would want to play in the NITs. More opportunities to get better. Maybe I can change some things up. Use it as a way to wipe the slate clean and use it as a way to, like, get ready for the next season. Why not? I think I would go, but I don't know. Muss may not even – he may not care because he may not be back. I think that's still a possibility. You never know. Where's the I don't know button for the poll? Well, I mean, you got to pick one. Can Arkansas avoid a bloodbath? 46% of you say yes. 42% of you say no. 12% of you, so we got a couple of people who voted that Arkansas wins. So make sure you take the poll. Maybe we would have won if Devo would quit. Oh, God. Johnny, you've got to get over that, my guy. You've got to get over what these kids do in their own private time, man. You got to let it go. I think Tennessee will reach the Final Four, at least Elite Eight. We're still in this one, though. Woo Pig Suey says Razorback rock. So we found one of our guys that picked Arkansas to win the game. Yeah, I think – I don't know. We know who their coach is. We know what his hang-up is. He's awfully good during the season, but, man, in March – yeah, it's just not really worked out great for Tennessee. Muss at practice still trying to figure out why the same drills aren't working. A lot of us gone to be telling Boomer sooner if the front office don't get it right in the upcoming years. Johnny, if you are threatening to leave, then you're not a fan. I mean, you're not a fan under these circumstances just because they're losing. I'm gonna take that as you're kidding around, or you're not from the western part of the state, because I don't know anybody in the western part of the state that wants anything to do with Oklahoma. Nobody on the western part of this. It's a hate. In the River Valley or in Northwest Arkansas, there's a raw hatred for Oklahoma. I'm from Jonesboro. Well, that's why you feel free to joke about that, because over here in NWA, man, that's not a joke. If you're going to threaten to leave for somebody, okay, threaten to leave for, like, I don't know, some East Florida or something. If you're going to joke. If you're going to make jokes. I'm not. It was a joke. Okay. All right. I'll let you have that one, Johnny. I pick Arkansas to pump sunshine. And I pick tenor to make money. There you go. Phillips onto something there. There you go. There you go. I don't like the state of Oklahoma, says Unbiased Brim. I've told you guys, man, I've seen it. I've seen fans get in each other's faces. Some dude wearing an OU hat and talking shit. And you guys remember the Electric Cowboy? Are any of you OG Fayetteville people or NWA people, and you remember the Electric Cowboy? Oklahoma trash. Just imagine if Greenlaw didn't get hurt Sunday night. Oh yeah, that was too bad. Man, that's gotta suck. I felt so bad for him, dude. I felt so bad for Dre. That was really too bad for Dre Greenlaw. I didn't want the Niners to win, but not like that, man. I felt for the 49ers because I get that. The Rams lost some pretty big pieces, but I hated it too for them. I hated it too for the Niners, and I hated it for Dre. And you saw how that thing, goes into overtime. I do think the 49ers are probably the better team. I really do. I know there's Chiefs fans that watch this, and they're going to get a little upset by that. But I do think the Niners are better, and they got banged up there. And not having Dre Greenlaw, who's been such a big piece of that defense, what a blow. And, again, that sucks. We still got your back, big play, Dre. We got your back, Greenlaw. That sucked. Can't talk OU and UT in a nice way to me. I just wish Greenlaw would have had a better DC than Chavis. That's you think about it, you had some pretty decent linebackers come through here over the years. When you think about it, didn't always used to be that way. There was a big gap between like Freddie Fairchild and then the next group to come through several years later. The Montreal Spates, the Dre Greenlaws. We can go on and on. There's been some pretty decent linebackers over the years. Kind of surprised more of them. Brooks Ellis was pretty sound, I guess. Is there a possibility to still make the tournament? Again, automatic qualifier. That's it. And I don't see that happening. You never know, because that is about the time when Arkansas turns it up. But we're just gonna have to let it play out, Brian. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer for you other than just if they won out, what are they right now? They're 3-7. If they won out, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we talked about this the other night. They would go. They would make the tournament if they won out. The odds of that happening are they're almost just astronomical. And I don't like their odds in the SEC tournament to go on a real long run. I think they could probably, again, this team could probably beat some teams in the SEC that they have no business beating. Maybe that starts tonight. You're not supposed to doubt Musselman. We know that. You're not supposed to doubt the guy. But, it feels like this one's kind of outside of his control. So, Tennessee at Mississippi State on the 17th. A&M on the 20th, Mizzou on the 24th, Vandy on the 27th, at Kentucky on March 2nd, LSU at home on the 6th, and then at Alabama. I absolutely hate they got to play their last game of the year at Bama. I absolutely hate that. It's too bad that one couldn't be at home. But again, why not? You know what? This year, you're as bad as you are. Maybe you prefer to be on the road. And you're looking at possibly getting swept by Kentucky, too. And that's a bummer. Really thought they were going to split that one. Good news is you have a shot at maybe sweeping Missouri. You should be able to do that and get Vandy. So that puts you at least, if that's all you end with, that puts you at 5 conference wins. But that's still not anywhere near where we thought Arkansas would be at. Can Arkansas avoid a bloodbath versus Tennessee? We're going to go ahead and stop the poll here. Where'd it go? Well, that's weird. I stopped the poll and it just vanished. Oh, there it goes. %48% of you say yes, and I agree. I think they do avoid a bloodbath. I just think I think they still probably lose. Got some winnable games. There are some winnable games left, and that is the good news. You know, Missouri and Vanderbilt. You get LSU at home. LSU, who's 4-6 right now, but you know, you already got. I mean, you got blasted against them not that long ago. Just a couple of games ago, you lost 95-74. So again, Tennessee favored to win this thing. Again, 86.5%. I got Tennessee winning. I do think they avoid a bloodbath, but it could be a bloodbath. I kind of agree with what someone said in chat. If Arkansas were to find a way to win, it would probably be a very, very close win. You get a shot at beating these guys, you know, as good as they've been this year, most of the year, it'd be a hell of a victory. And this is the kind of game you could build the rest of your season off of if you truly wanted to make a tournament shot. But, yeah, if you lose this, it kind of feels like it's out the window. I mean, it already is out the window. Yes, I agree. But I'm saying in general, like statistically speaking, it's already extremely low. I think this would probably – you feel like this would eliminate them out of any shot at making the tournament. I don't know. So then it's on to the NIT. I guess we should already be on the NIT front, but I don't know. We'll see what Musselman does if that's their aim, is to now to at least try to get some more games and some more opportunities to let the younger guys play. So they got to connect as well as they can, but there's some other pieces here with Tennessee that could give you some real trouble. We'll see if Arkansas can avoid them. I think they can. Maybe that should have been the prediction, you know, in Discord. Maybe that should have been it. Tyler, we're going to have another Gus and Nut situation. Will Pittman turn the offense completely over? Oh, yeah. No, Jeremy, I think he will. Yeah, and that's part of the stuff I really wanted to talk about, like, in the coming weeks, is just about what the offense might look like. Just to get kind of an idea of where we think. Yeah, I think so. Because I think he fully handed this thing over to Dan Enos. You could tell the offense on the field was definitely not the veer and shoot. And the veer and shoot, Kendall Briles, that might have been one of the reasons why he stayed, because Pittman didn't meddle in his offense at all. He didn't meddle with Odom in the defense. And I don't think he did with these guys either. I don't think he did with Enos on the offense. And I don't think he did with Williams and those guys on the defense. I think he kind of takes on that CEO role, right? He just lets these guys do their things as position coaches and as coordinators. So, yeah, I think he's always going to have veto power, right? It's going to be down to him what they're going to do on fourth and short situations or goal line situations. I'm sure he's going to get that call. Do we bring the field goal unit on the field and whatnot? That's what all coaches do. That's what they're supposed to do. You don't want to hear a coach say, I didn't know what to do. That was said in a post game this year by Pittman. But, you know, yeah, I think he's going to – that I don't have any real concerns about. You know, now, does he affect tempo? Does Pittman maybe want to keep things – I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, you know, and unfortunately we won't really have a lot of those questions answered until you get a couple of games under your belt as to what they play with, and is this going to be more similar to what Bobby Petrino did maybe at Louisville or what he did at Missouri State? Because it's not going to be what you can watch A&M film all day long, and I don't think you're going to see that. That was Jimbo's offense. That wasn't Bobby Petrino's offense. So, I mean, he's even come out and said it. It was Jimbo's. What did he say? I'll just say I think he was saying that it was his vernacular. It was like this is Jimbo language, and this is the language we got to speak. This is the playbook. This is what we got to work with, and this is what you're going to call. Here, I don't think that's going to be the case at all. I think they're going to let him run his offense, and that's what you should do. I don't know how well that'll work out year one. I don't know if he's got the pieces that he needs, but I really wanted to see Dre get a ring since he picked my Packers twice and eliminated them. He made me happy and sad at the same time. Yeah, Camo, I already talked about it earlier, but a bloodbath is 20 points or more. That's a bloodbath, yeah. At least Kennedy is at Mississippi State now, says Johnny Jones. Yeah. All right, I think that's it. We'll be back tomorrow night for the post game. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow night. There'll be 5 of you in the post game, maybe 15 of you in the post game. I don't care. I'm still doing it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna discuss what we saw. So I hope to see you there. Remember on your way out to like, share, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's a big one tomorrow. It's a big game. It is. It's big because if you win, it could have huge potentially. There could be something brewing in Fayetteville. I just don't know that I see that happening or not. All right? Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.